joining us all the way from
Jolton, Tennessee.
Jolton, Tennessee. Okay, so fill us in here in Canada. Whereabouts is that?
It's still in Davidson County, so it's somewhat Nashville, but it's like a little tiny country town just north of Nashville, about 10 miles. And I bought a house, and it's a big log cabin in the woods, and it's a perfect place to quarantine. So
wow,
I spent a lot of time out here.
That's pretty cool. And are you prepared for all emergencies?
Pretty much, yeah. I still have enough food to probably last me a good, if I really needed to, it could last me a few months. And I'm a hunter, so if I had to hunt something and eat it, I'm definitely not afraid to do it.
Okay, well, that is very good to know. We're chatting with Hardy, and man, this is crazy. There's like a whirlwind going on, and everybody's talking about you. You are a huge songwriter. You've written songs for some really big names out there in country music: Blake Shelton, Florida Georgia Line, some Canadians too: Dallas Smith, Mackenzie Porter, Chris Lane, Locash. We could list them off all day, but now everybody's talking about your new album called A Rock, which is coming out everywhere next Friday. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Gosh.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this album. Rolling Stone called you a prolific songwriter. So we want to know, what is the new album all about? What does it stand for?
It's honestly, it's my first real solo project, and it's just tapping into more of my serious side. Up until now, a lot of my music has been, there's been some in the past. There's a song, Sign Sober You, which is a serious song, and there's been songs here and there that are a little more serious, but the statement here for the most part is that there's more to me than just like redneck and beer drinker and all of that. And so it's my time to show a little bit of a deeper side of myself.
Okay, so that's actually a great segue to talk about your debut single, Redneck, which is a rednecker, which is sort of along the same lines of One Beer as far as titles go, but they're two very different songs. Now, yeah. One Beer with Lauren Elena and Devin Dawson is a beautiful play on words, and it's sort of like this storytelling that they say you're super good at. So why don't you explain the song a little bit, how it came about, and the way you play with the words?
Yeah, I mean, the song just tells the story of a couple that finds out that they're having a baby. And the first verse and the second verse, it talks about kind of raising the kid and the kid being a toddler, and there's toys everywhere and all of that, and it just explains that. And then in the chorus, it snaps back to the moment to where they had one beer, and it led to a few more, and they got drunk and they hooked up and they had a baby. And I just had this title, One Beer, for a long time, and I don't know, I knew that I wanted to, because it is a very like radio sounding title that doesn't sound like there would be a whole lot, to it. And I wanted it to just be more, I wanted it to stand for something a little more. So I just kind of dreamed up this story, and we just sort of went from there.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where you're not expecting the story to go where it goes when you hear the title. So it's interesting.
Totally.
Yeah, when you do that, that's really cool and well thought out, obviously. So are you trying to get away from the whole rednecker thing? Is that the plan?
No, I just want to make sure that people know that that's not the only thing that I'm about. There's more to me than just that, and this is kind of me saying that. I think every project, there's a song on this record called Unapologetically Country as Hell. And that's I put that on there because I do want people to know that I'm not getting away from that. I'm just broadening my in general, just what's going on in my head, and just how I am as a person, and what I want to say as an artist. So I wouldn't say that I'm getting away from that. I'm just broadening everything a little bit.
So how has being a songwriter first affected you as a singer?
That is a really good question. I think a lot of it is that I got a lot of practice in, and I didn't even know I was practicing for it. And I found my sound as a songwriter, and I kind of found my voice through words as a songwriter. And I learned that some songs are more me than others that I write. And so I think that just through 4 or 5 years of practicing songwriting, whether I didn't know it at the time, but I was practicing for like developing my craft as an artist.
I'm always curious, and I think as country music fans, you know, we're lucky to have a lot of songwriters as artists too. But it's always interesting to know when that moment, when that shift happens for a songwriter, where you decide, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot myself, because they're two very different things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My story was kind of crazy. I was just writing songs I signed my first publishing deal at the beginning of 2014, and I was just a songwriter. That's all I was doing. And when I started writing with Florida Georgia Line, Morgan Wallen, uh, they these they started really getting in my ear, and I found myself like I'd be writing with these people that already have record deals and songs on the radio, and they were like making me sing the demos because they were like, we like your delivery better. And then it turned into like, dude, you should do this artist thing. Like you have a voice and you have a thing. And then out of the blue one day, Joey Moy, who I didn't know that well, I didn't even have his number. He called me and he said, dude, I don't know where your head is at, but I just want to let you know that if you ever wanted to produce a record, I would produce a record on you tomorrow. And
Wow.
so my story was really different. I didn't really make the transition. I just sort of kind of got pushed by the universe into this kind of moment of like, holy crap, this is a thing. And the next thing I knew, I was in Big Loud's office and they offered me a record deal on the spot. And I just told him I'd have to think about it. And I thought about it for a few months and I just decided to go for it.
Wow, a few months.
Yeah, it was probably 2 or 3 months before I decided to go into negotiations. I knew it was a big life decision. I've seen my friends go through the process and I know how much it changes your life. And I just had to think about it for a little bit. I know it's a really, really big decision. And I just said that I didn't want to go 30 years down the road and not know what that was all about. And so I did and never looked back.
That's incredible. Getting encouragement from your peers and, like you said, a little bit of the universe playing along too. I think that you were obviously meant to do this.
Absolutely. I think so too.
So what are you most excited about in releasing your debut album?
Just seeing the reaction. There's all kinds of different songs on there. And I love seeing, there's always one song that you don't think would be the one that's gonna, like, as we like to say, like raise its hand, like be the one that kind of stands out. And I'm excited to see that, like to know which songs do the best. And I just love kind of getting the fans' opinions and seeing which ones that they really like. And it's always really interesting to me because everybody's different, but I'm excited just to see their reaction and to see which songs actually stand out.
Now, did you strategically place all the songs in the order that they're in?
Yeah.
Is there a way you want everybody to listen to the record? Like the first half one day, second half another day?
No, just all at one time, top to bottom.
Okay,
yeah, I did. With the help of like my manager, we put it in order for a reason. And I think that's why, like, the song A Rock is at the end because it's a very reflective song. The song itself is a lot about life, and there's a lot of like life moments that are kind of talked about in the record. And so A Rock kind of really reflects on the rest of the album. But I think, yeah, we've spread the love songs out so that you're not getting just a big hunk of like, love songs just, in a row. And, but yeah, it's definitely strategically in order.
That's interesting. There's so much thought that goes into putting an album together that sometimes as a listener, you don't even realize that, you're being deliberately sent on a journey through the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah. So you have been sort of I guess integrating rock and country in a subtle sort of way over the years with your music and your songwriting. Talk a little bit about how you find a place successfully for country music that has a little bit of a different genre in it, because there are, several artists out there right now that are doing that successfully, not necessarily with rock, but it's not an easy thing to do well.
I don't know. I honestly just do kind of what comes naturally. And that's like my natural instinct. And, when we get in the studio, it's a little more thought out, and like I like with guitars and the tone and them being a little heavier than most and all of that. But yeah, and I just think that there's a lane for that as well. So I got really lucky with there being maybe not a lot of people doing the really like rock country thing, and also that being what comes naturally. I don't have to like try to do something that isn't natural. I'm just kind of doing what I do.
And it's nice when that's well received, because then you don't really have to think about it, like you said, as much. It's just, you're just being yourself and people are accepting that, and that must feel really good.
Yeah, it does. And it's a relief. I'm not putting on a mask, or I'm not trying too hard. It just comes naturally. So it makes life a lot easier. It makes my creative space and creative time a lot easier.
Well, you're not putting on a mask unless you're going outside for groceries.
That's right. That is right.
So you don't have like a specific recipe for a great country song?
I think if the idea is a good idea, if it's a really good hook or a really good idea, I think that's a good place to start. Everything else I think is up to the writer, and you can turn a not so great idea into a hit song. But for me, like an idea, like when Give Heaven Some Hell or something like that comes along, it helps just being inspired by knowing the song you're writing is a really great concept.
And you take your inspiration for songs from every facet of life?
Yeah, just kind of what I'm going through, what I've been through, things I'm familiar with, where I come from. And so, yeah, a little bit of everything. Absolutely. I just try to be very conscious of moments and things that are happening, and a way to talk about that.
Well, we're really excited to hear the brand new debut album from Hardy called A Rock out everywhere on Friday. And we're excited to be playing the new single, One Beer. I've been listening to it. It's great. Really enjoying it.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for playing it. It really means a lot.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us. And you're keeping up okay during this whole pandemic?
I am. I've got plenty of things to do. I got a lot of hobbies, and I'm good. I'm hanging in there. I'm very ready to play a show, but things could always be worse.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time for chatting with us. And again, check out Hardy's brand new album, A Rock, and hopefully we can catch up soon and actually see you perform live. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be wonderful.
All right. Take care. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you. Good to see you.
Cheers.
Bye.